Hey, what's up, fellas and female NASCAR fans? My name is Steve, and let me tell you something a little about this channel. This is a new channel. I'm not new to YouTube, but I am new to this channel. I usually make Call of Duty videos, but this is nothing about Call of Duty, and it's really nothing about video games except for what you're seeing on the screen here. This is for NASCAR fans. It's for talking about the races, talking about before the race, after the race, what certain teams should have done, what teams are doing, the different engines, different manufacturers, all that fun stuff. Now, let me just get the video games stuff out of the way real quick, because that is what you're watching here. And there is a reason why I'm running Jeff Gordon at Daytona right now. It's a little 10-lap race, just to keep your eyes busy while I'm talking. This is NASCAR Inside Line, which is the 2013 NASCAR game for Xbox. They allow something where they use the telemetry data from the races each week, so you could replay the moments in the race. You could replay the race, and the drivers actually do what they did in the race. And you could pick your favorite driver, do something a little different. Maybe they should have pitted on a certain lap. Maybe they should have stayed out. Maybe they should have taken 4 tires, 2 tires, whatever the case is. You can relive it and maybe even change it a little bit. So that's what they're doing this year. So that's kind of fun. So that's what I'll be doing every week. I'll be replaying the race, the key moments in the race, maybe a key driver from the race, and I'll also be talking over it, my thoughts from the last race, my thoughts for the preview for the next race coming up. And that's how we'll go. This video is the preview video for the 2013 season and also this year's Daytona 500. I also want to talk about the new car, manufacturers, and also my thoughts on some of the drivers for this year and who I think may be the eventual champion. And there's a hint. There's a hint here. You're seeing him drive this car right now, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go with the new car first. This isn't video of the new car, but I really like the new car from what I've seen so far. I understand that you're going to have the same amount of accidents, maybe even more accidents, because as you saw during the Sprint Unlimited, when Tony Stewart got into Dale Earnhardt Jr. a little bit, these cars are extremely sensitive to the air. But at the same time, I think it's going to create more exciting racing. Because if you look at the finish of the Sprint Unlimited last week, what Kevin Harvick was able to do, sliding up and blocking Greg Biffle towards the end of that race, that doesn't happen in the old car. I think that even causes a big wreck on the last lap in the old car. I like that they're going to be able to race without the tandem. They're just going to be able to race better in the new car, and I think it'll lend itself to the individual talent of the drivers a bit more than we had in the car of tomorrow. I didn't hate the car of tomorrow. I think it brought a lot to NASCAR. I think it brought, well, the safety features, number one. I think it also brought a lot of strategy to NASCAR in what you need to do. It brought the fuel strategy, pit strategy, but now I think it's time with the Gen 6 car to kind of get back to racing, letting these guys race. And I think that's what this car was designed to do, and it seems to be so far. I mean, let's get to Phoenix, let's get to Las Vegas before we pass judgment on the new car. But so far from what I've seen from the Unlimited, the 2 duels, it's doing a good job at that in its infancy so far. As far as manufacturers are concerned, I mean, Hendrick, how can you not like the Hendrick engines right now? They qualified the entire front line, Jeff Gordon, Danica Patrick. I really think that they put a lot of effort into this engine for this year. They had some uncharacteristic problems with the Hendrick equipment last year. They had that bad batch of engine coils that they got that caused them to blow a few engines and cost the teams running those engines more points than they normally would expect from a Hendrick. They had the problems with, I know Jimmy Johnson had problems with his brakes. Jeff Gordon had some brake problems. Just uncharacteristic equipment issues for Hendrick teams last year. And I think this year they're going to not have those problems. I think this year you're going to see a pretty seamless effort from the Hendrick equipment this year for the teams running it. You're going to see good years from Stewart-Haas. You're going to see good years from the Hendrick teams. And I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a lot of those drivers making the chase. From both Stewart-Haas and anyone running the Hendrick engine. And you even saw the power of the Chevrolet engine overall with Harvick, the way with Harvick finished in the Sprint Unlimited. So the Fords, I think they'll be consistent again. It seems like they're going to be consistent like they were last year with Biffle. It's tough to really say. You've got Joey Logano running the Ford. You have Biffle running the Ford. I think those will be solid teams like they were last year. I don't know if they'll have the speed. That seems to be the issue for the Ford engines, is the speed. Having the speed and being able to maintain it with the fuel efficiency. If they are able to get that, they'll have consistent years. As far as getting the wins that you need to win the chase, I just don't see it. And I'll tell you who I'm the most disappointed in is Toyota. Those engines last year, I was at the fall race in Dover. Denny Hamlin wanted to lap the field in that race. Those were the fastest cars all year long. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin had the fastest equipment. They were putting the fastest cars out there all year long. It just came to a matter of fuel strategy, pit strategy, and just some bad luck where they weren't able to win the races in order to win the chase. But they had the fastest cars now, and you could see it in the Michael Waltrip guys running the Joe Gibbs engines last year. How fast they were. Clint Boyer, how well they were doing. Mark Martin, a few of those races, was really up there towards the front, had a great season for the split schedule that he runs. I just am really I understand it's early yet, but from what I've seen, I'm not seeing the speed from the Toyota engines that you would expect coming off of last year. And I understand it's a new car, and maybe it's early and they'll figure it out. Kyle Busch did come ahead and win one of the duels. But so far, that's got to be my biggest disappointment, is the speed of the Toyota engines. So far, is my biggest disappointments of the young season. I think you're going to see a lot of the old school drivers do well this year. I think you're going to see Tony Stewart have an excellent season. He's a very talented driver, and these new cars, I think it's going to let these guys drive. It's going to let those individual talents show through. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to have a good season. I don't think it's a coincidence that he stopped winning when the car of tomorrow came in. He was doing pretty well with that Generation 4 car, and then the car of tomorrow, I understand he switched teams, but the car of tomorrow and one win with the car of tomorrow. I mean, if you count that Budweiser shootout from his first week with Hendrick, that's two. But two wins with that car tomorrow. In Michigan, 3 wins. I'm sorry, 3 wins with the car tomorrow, but just not a lot. I think you're going to see a great season, and he even had in the last practice, he had the fastest time. I think you're going to see a great season out of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'd be surprised if he weren't in the chase, and also towards the end, if he weren't one of the 2 or 3 drivers that had a real shot at the championship. Then we get to Jeff Gordon. I know people either love him or hate him. I personally am a Jeff Gordon fan. I have when I was growing up in the 90s. There was Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. That's who you saw when you were watching NASCAR. You saw Jeff Gordon driving around DuPont car. Every week you saw him win races. I think he's going to have a fantastic season with the individual talents for this new car. I think he's going to win the championship. And I think you're going to see more drives like him at Richmond when he made the chase by a few points. I think you're going to see that with this equipment, you're going to see more races like that with him able to go on these massive drives. I think he realizes he's getting older. This is his last really good shot this year. I think he's going to take advantage of it. I even think he wins the Daytona 500 tomorrow. But that's yet to be seen. As far as some of the other drivers, I think Matt Kenseth is going to have a monster season. I'd be shocked if he weren't up there. I think that Kyle Busch is going to have a nice rebound season. I expect a little bit of a fall-off from Denny Hamlin. I think last year was a major disappointment for him. Going into the chase, he had a lot of momentum, and they just squandered it. I think so. You're going to see better seasons from you're going to see a little bit better season from Greg Biffle. I think you'll see him be a little bit more competitive in the chase. A much better season from Carl Edwards, of course. How could you get any worse than what happened to him last year? I think you're going to see a little bit of a fall-off from the Michael Waltrip guys, though. I think you're going to see a little bit of a fall-off from Clint Boyer. Just kind of a hangover type thing. I think he's a great driver, but I just don't see the speed out of the Toyota so far and the talent there to kind of overcome some poor equipment. So it's going to be an exciting season. I look forward to watching the new car. Like, subscribe, comment below if you want to see new stuff every week. I'm just kind of getting into the habit of commentating over NASCAR stuff, so it's a bit of a change for me, but I love talking about the cars. I love talking about the races, and I'm really going to enjoy having fun with you guys. So until next week, I'll see you next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll see you next week after the Daytona 500. We'll talk about the race. We'll have fun with that. And enjoy. Sit back, relax, and hopefully we won't have something like Juan Pablo Montoya last year. We're watching until 1 o'clock because he blew up a jet engine. So hopefully we avoid that. Until next time, I'll see you later. This has been Steve.